Alright guys, it's 101 here, and today I'm going to be demonstrating how you can build a quick, easy, simple and cheap mob trap for your single player world that does not utilize any glitches and is completely immune to the effects of mob idling. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is to find the optimal spot for this thing. Now, the optimal spot is indeed in the middle of an ocean. Not because mobs can't spawn on water, I mean they can't, but that's not why we want an ocean. We want an ocean simply because it's a large flat area with no elevations. If you don't have an ocean handy, then you can go ahead and use a desert, or a plains biome, or maybe even a flat forest, whatever's convenient, provided it's flat and there aren't many elevations. So once you've found your optimal spot like I have, you're going to press the F3 button to bring up your debug screen. Now this number here, Y63, we're going to want to get that up to 210, because we don't want any mobs spawning in caves or on the surface. So I'm going to do that. Be back in just a second. Alright, so we've gotten up here. As you can see, the Y coordinate is now 210, so we no longer need the debug screen. We can press F3 to get rid of that. Next up, you're going to want to make a little base of operations. I just have a little 7x7 cobblestone pad. I have an infinite water source. You might want one of these so you don't have to keep going down to the bottom to get water. You're going to need the following ingredients: 2 stacks of redstone torches, 4 stacks of redstone, a stack of redstone repeaters, 24 pistons, 5 buckets of lava, a couple of buckets for shifting water around obviously, and some torches just for lighting the thing up. As for building materials, you're going to want 2 double chests of your building material of choice. Now I've got cobblestone here because it's nice and easy to get, but you can use any non-flammable building material. So you can't use wood. If you use wood, the thing will burn down and you'll have a horrible mess. So now that we have your little base of operations set up, it's time to start building. Right, the first thing you're going to build is going to be the collection canal. This is going to be a very simple canal. It's going to be a stepped water channel canal, and all it is really is sections of 8 long pieces of water basically. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You out one more, up one. You put some walls on the side of that, like so. And then you simply put a bucket of water in the end, and it should flow right to the end without flowing off, and that's very important. Repeat this process another 3 times and you should end up with something like this. And this is very important because monsters do not spawn within 24 blocks of the player, so you're going to want to be 24 blocks from wherever it is that the mobs are spawning, else you're going to reduce rates in the trap. Next up, we're going to build the grinder assembly, and this is the part that's actually going to kill the monsters and deliver their items to us. So we're going to start by going 6 blocks out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to make a little T shape on the end, just 2 squares. We're going to add a wall to this, and then we're going to chuck down a couple of water streams. They should converge in the middle so that there are no dead spots and all items get pushed right to the center. Now we're going to build the plate that the lava sits on, and this is very important that you do this exactly as I show you. First, add a wall here. Make sure it goes over the water source, well, the water stream here, and then extend this back 3 more squares so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares between the water stream and the edge of the plate. Next up, raise the wall up another square and place 5 ladders on the front like so. This is the entire grinder assembly done. Once you're finished, you're going to put your 5 lava buckets here, but we're not going to do that just now as we're still building around here. Now it's time to build the canal that's going to carry the monsters to the grinder. This is very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up 1, and simply repeat this 3 times. Once you've done that and widened the thing to the full width of the canal, you should end up with something a bit like this. Now it's time to put the walls on it. And these are going to be 3 high walls, and you're just going to start at the grinder end and work your way up to the other end. Okay, so once that's done, you should end up with something a bit like this. Now it's time to put the water in. If you're in creative mode, then you can just slap down the water like that. But if you're in survival, then there is an efficient way to do it. Place 1 bucket here and 1 bucket here. This will form an infinite source right here that you can refill your buckets from before placing another there, and the water stream will then be done. So just fill up this canal in the middle. You should end up with something like this. Next up, we are going to build the base of the trap. This is simply a 21 by 8 water stream leading to the central canal. So to build that, we're going to go out 8 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and up 1. And we're going to do this 21 times in that direction. It's kind of tedious, so I'm going to skip through this. I'll be back in just a second. Having done that, you should end up with something kind of like this. It's very important that you get dimensions of this right, else you're going to have trouble building the trap later. You need 8 squares along here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 21 squares along here. I'm not going to count them, just because that would take quite a long time, and I already have done it. So once you are sure that the dimensions of these pads here are correct, you need to put water onto them. Okay, so once the water is in place, you should end up with something like this. Water should flow from the back of this tray all the way to the middle, but not into the central canal. There should be 21 squares of water along this side. Once you're sure that your dimensions are correct, you can get on with the next stage. First off, raise this wall up 3 squares. Once you've put that wall on, you can start on the first set of spawning pads. These are very easy to build. You simply go 3 squares from this side, and 3 squares from the other side. Then, you fill in this gap here, and you construct a horizontal pyramid shape on the side here. The shape of this floor is very important. It has been designed such that water flow will cover the entire pad, pushing any mobs that have spawned on it off without spilling over the edges. Once you've built one of those, build 3 more on the 3 other sides. I'm going to do this off camera. Be back in just a second. Alright, now that your first floors are on, it is time to get started on the redstone, which is going to control the pistons. If you're not redstone literate, then don't worry, just do as I do and you shouldn't have too much trouble. First thing to do is to make a square going all the way around your trap, 3 squares from the existing wall. If you don't understand quite what I mean, I'm going to go do this off camera and you'll see exactly what I mean shortly. Okay, so it should look something like this. Now it's time to actually put the redstone in place. Plonk down a block, put 2 torches on the block, and then a redstone wire leading to the corner. On the corner you're going to want to put down another block and another torch. You're going to then run redstone to the next intersection, where you're going to place another block with 2 torches on it. Then continue to the next corner and just repeat this pattern going all the way around till you reach the far end. Now that the redstone is in place, it is time to put the pistons in. What you're going to do is you're going to place a vertically spaced piston like that. There. You're going to put a block behind the piston, a block behind the piston, and then a piece of redstone behind the block. Immediately the piston should extend. I'm going to put 3 blocks either side of the piston now, and then we're going to build a little rim around it and place water behind the extended piston head. Now we can clearly see that when this torch is powered off, the piston is going to retract and the water is going to flow out of the floor. And this is the mechanism that's going to wash the mobs down to the grinder so that we can get their items. Of course, this is going to be repeated on each side. I'll be right back once that is done. Okay, so I've put the piston assemblies in place now. Now what we need to do is we need to prepare the redstone torch tower for the next floor. Now, follow carefully. What you're going to do is you're going to place a block on top of that torch, a torch on that block, and then a block on top of the torch you just placed, and another torch on there. Now, if you didn't quite catch that, I'm going to do that again on the next one. So, you put a block on top of this torch, a torch on that block, and then a block on top of that torch, and a torch on the side of that block. Now, this is very important because it forms the continuation of a torch tower, which is going to power each of the floors in a sort of column. If you don't see how this is going to work, you'll certainly see when I demonstrate it with multiple floors. I'm going to do this for each and every piston assembly. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so each of the piston assemblies is done. The torch tower has been put in place. All we need to do now is add more floors, and I'm going to demonstrate quickly to you how you add another floor. So you put a wall in place, obviously, and you build the next floor. And then for the piston assembly, you have to do some stuff a little bit differently. Instead of just placing a block and a redstone and immediately powering the piston, you need to place a block on top of this torch, which is the continuation of the torch tower from the last level. So do that and build this torch tower up a couple of levels. And then you need to build this piston assembly just as you would build the other ones. Again, this powering scheme is ever so slightly different. It actually alternates with floors, but it shouldn't be too difficult to get the hang of. Okay, so that's a basic summary of how you add another floor. Now all you need to do is spend a couple hours, build some more of them. I suggest you build 6, that's how many I'm going to be building in this tutorial. It seems to be about optimum. Right, I'm going to go off screen now and add those 6 floors. I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I've added the 6 floors. It's been about 5 minutes for me. It may have been several hours for you, so I apologise if you are bored out of your mind with adding floors to this thing, but we are finally getting somewhere. The next task that you've got to do is to put the lava into your lava grinder. We're going to do this now because as soon as you put the roof onto this thing, mobs are going to begin to spawn inside, and some of them might fall down. You might have some troubles with some creepers exploding your grinder setup, so it does make sense to put the lava in now. So just chuck down those 5 lava buckets, and then it is very important that you do this, you put a bar above the end of the lava. And this is important as it prevents mobs from swimming up through the lava and losing their drops. I also suggest that you cover this up. You could use glass here if you want to see the mobs die, but it really isn't that important. Okay, the grinder is done, the system is completely ready. Now all we need to do is slap a roof on it. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we have a roof. All we need to do now is cover it in torches. I believe there are now a sufficient number of torches on the roof. So, finally, we can finish this. There is only one thing left to do, and that is the regulator circuit. It is arguably the most difficult part to do, but it's still not very difficult. What we're going to do is we're going to climb up to the ring. We are going to build a little L shape here, and we are going to extend it 23 blocks. I'll be back in just a moment once I've done that. Once you've gone 23 blocks, you're going to turn around, and you're going to go back. Okay, so once you've gone back, you should end up with something like this. Now what you're going to do is you're going to place blocks here, here, and here. You're going to put a torch on this one, and then you're going to cover this line in repeaters, like so. All of them need to be on the maximum delay setting, so as to give the correct delay. I've actually experimented a bit, and this timing circuit seems to be about optimal. When you get to the end here, you're going to place blocks here and here, put a repeater there, and continue back. Last of all, you're going to place one here. By doing that, you're going to start the timer going. This will now oscillate. The problem with it is that it's 50% on and 50% off, whereas we only want a small amount on. So flush, let them spawn, flush, let them spawn. So what we now need to do is we need to build another redstone line coming from here. We're just going to have a little zigzag, and it's going to go up and along, like so. When it gets here, we are going to put a sticky piston. I didn't actually put this in the resource requirements. I should have, but I didn't. And we are going to wire the sticky piston to the end line over here. The end of the line over here, just like so. We'll put a repeater in the middle somewhere so that the power continues all the way to the sticky piston. We want a block on the end of the sticky piston, we want a line here, and we want a repeater there. Now this regulator circuit will produce 1/4 on and 3/4 off. When it's off, monsters will spawn, and when it's on, monsters will flush, and this is exactly what we want. Sadly though, there is currently no way to switch this off, and because it does generate block updates and could generate lag on slower computers, you definitely want a way to switch it off. So how we're going to do the off switch is very simple. We're going to put a repeater here. We're going to put a little redstone wire there. What this will do is it will power the piston and power this block, which will power this repeater, which will power that. And what this will do is it will flush all of the floors and leave them permanently flushed, so mobs won't spawn on them and no more water updates will be generated. The clock will also stop because of this, so there will literally be no lag when it's switched off. which is exactly what we want. Of course, we don't want to have to walk all the way up here to control it, so we're going to run a switch all the way down to the collection point. And we can just have a little zigzag leading down, like so. Oop, hang on. And we can simply stick the switch on that. Now, we run the wire along the line. Of course, we're going to want to flick the switch to see where the line runs out. There. You may have to add a couple of repeaters, but that's okay. I did factor that into the resource budget at the beginning, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. Stick one last repeater in, and finally it's done. As you can see, the piston is in the down position. This is locked on, and all the floors have water on them. If I just hop inside, you'll see that all of the floors have water on them. They've all been activated. None of them should spawn any more monsters, and the trap is completely shut down. So, only one thing left to do now. We've got to fire it up and see how much it produces. Okay, so I've idled at this collection point for about 10 minutes, and I've gotten all of this. That's several stacks of bones, several stacks of gunpowder, several stacks of arrows. Of course, it also produces string. That's right, it's compatible with spiders, and most of my traps to date have not been compatible with spiders, so that's always nice. So, I've entered all of this into my handy little item rate calculator, and it is giving me a total, well, it says here, hang on, 6,800 items per hour. That's insane. That's 2 double chests per hour. That's a full inventory in 20 minutes, and enough gunpowder for a stack of TNT in just 12 minutes. That's a stack of TNT every 12 minutes, so it is really rather fast. Alright guys, I think that'll be about it for today. If you've got any ideas or further suggestions, post them in the comment section below. If you like this, or you enjoyed watching this or found this useful, then don't forget to rate, comment, and maybe subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.